hurricanes spin in different directions. Weather patterns spin in different directions, and even if you were sat above, I mean, there's an example of the Coriolis effect that's on.
Yeah, that's due to pressure and heat.
Yeah, so that's the type of claim. I mean, you can just make ad hoc bullshit, but you can't actually predict it or derive any of those expectations, right? What we observe is actually predicted on the hypothesis that the Earth is spinning. But that's not even what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the claim that you made about whether or not what we would expect is someone to move with respect to the Earth when they jumped. That's what I want to know.
Okay, so you want me to tell you what modern science tells us?
I want you. Well, first of all, I want to tell me what your claim is, and then support how modern science says that.
So my claim is.
But I'll first explain to you inertial reference frames, right? Because you wanted to say, oh, it's because of inertial reference frames, but that doesn't explain it, right? You have to explain why it doesn't explain it, because inertial reference frames do, in fact, explain why you don't, when you jump in the air, you maintain the inertia that the Earth has given you. And it's also the case that all of the air around you maintains the inertia.
No, that's not what the Coriolis effect is.
I'm not talking about the Coriolis
That's
effect.
what the Coriolis effect is. That's the definition. That the atmosphere is not keeping inertia because there's a blender effect. That means since the atmosphere is not connected to the Earth.
You don't
yes,
understand
that's what the Coriolis. No, I know what it is.
No, you don't know what it is.
I do.
The reason is, look, you don't know what the Coriolis effect. The reason you don't know what the Coriolis effect is because you don't understand what
inertial referencing is.
No, it's not about inertia. It's not. No, look, you don't understand angular. No, you don't understand angular momentum. That's what you don't understand. That's why you don't know what the Coriolis effect is.
Yes,
it doesn't have anything to do with. It doesn't have it. No, it doesn't have. It has to do with conservation of angular momentum. It doesn't have to do with inertia. You fucking dumbass.
That does. Okay, Coriolis effect doesn't agree with that. All right,
You just made a bunch of fucking claims.
Okay, do you want me to tell you what the Coriolis effect is? Okay, so everyone that doesn't know what the Coriolis effect is, basically, think about a blender, right? You spin the blender, right, and you put water in the blender. The middle of the blender, which is spinning the fastest, would be the Earth, and the outer portion would be the atmosphere. Since the atmosphere is not connected to the Earth, the atmosphere is being dragged by the spin of the Earth. The Coriolis states when you jump, since the atmosphere is not connected to the Earth, is being dragged, the Earth is spinning faster than the atmosphere. It's actually not picking up the inertia. Therefore, the Coriolis states.
Finish, please, Josh. Can you let him finish?
No, I'm not gonna. No, when he finished his fucking statement, shut the fuck up, Godless. He finished his sentence.
Is that your girlfriend?
And then I said that was wrong. Right? Yeah. So the reason that what you said was
to your girlfriend like that.
Yeah, don't you love your girlfriend? Why would you speak to her like that?
He's a thug. He's a thug.
Shut the fuck up.
That's how thugs talk.
That's not no.
You don't love your girlfriend?
That's really fucked up.
I just told you he's a thug, bro.
Stop fucking changing the fucking subject.
Okay, fine. Let's go back.
You got the fucking Coriolis effect wrong.
Okay. What did I get wrong?
What the Coriolis effect is that when there's other things that explain motions of the storm throughout the atmosphere, right? It's not just that the atmosphere is moving. So what happens is that when the momentum carried from the center of the Earth to other parts of the Earth, when they're directed away from the equator, then they end up spinning because of the Coriolis effect. They do maintain their angular momentum, and that's actually why storms
let's talk about
spin the way they spin. But look, the point is...
Hold on, let's talk about that.
Okay, fine.
Okay, let's talk about it. So what would cause the atmosphere to keep momentum with the Earth? Because gravity is allegedly only pulling things to the center of mass, not pulling things with the Earth. So what is causing that effect?
Oh, fuck.
It is gravity. It's the fact that...
no, gravity only pulls things downward. It doesn't pull things with the Earth.
It pulls things towards the center of gravity.
Yeah, to the center, which is down, not with the Earth.
What are you talking about? The center of gravity is the center of Earth.
Okay.
In the case of Earth, the center of gravity is Earth.
Okay, think about the Earth not spinning. Okay, think about the Earth not spinning for a little bit. Yes, you would be right if the Earth was not spinning, but since gravity is only pulling things down to the center of mass, there is no actual effect that's having the atmosphere getting pulled with the Earth. That means you're denying the Coriolis effect.
What are you
No,
talking?
I don't understand. No, what you just said a bunch of
He's
bullshit.
saying
Hold on a second.
gravity only goes south.
No, not
Not
south.
east and west.
Down to the center
Down,
of the core.
down. Look, when I say south, I mean down. Not east and west, which
Yeah, but
not
what is
east and
that?
west, side to side.
What does
Yeah,
that
but what does that have to do? What does that have to do with fucking angular momentum? The fucking the
Okay,
atmosphere maintains its atmosphere maintains its angular momentum whether or not there's fucking gravity, right? You wouldn't just like I don't understand what
Okay, I'm asking what causes that to happen? Because gravity's only pulling it downward.
Rotating. The fact that the Earth is rotating.
Yeah, but gravity's not pulling things with the Earth. It's only pulling things downward. That means there would be a blender effect.
What do you mean it's not pulling things with the Earth? It's pulling the fucking atmosphere with it.
You're rejecting the notion of the Coriolis effect. You're rejecting that whole thing. Because if you're seeing the atmosphere, yes, you are. You're saying the atmosphere is getting pulled with the Earth. That's rejecting Coriolis. Because modern science says, since the atmosphere is getting dragged, that means things should spin under the atmosphere when you go upward.
The atmosphere is getting dragged in the same sense the rocks under your feet are getting dragged.
Okay,
right?
There's no force that causes that.
There's a conservation of angular momentum. So let's say gravity pulls,
what is causing that?
Let's stop talking. Let's say when gravity pulls the atmosphere to the ground, which is obviously why there's fucking atmosphere in the first place, because the atmosphere is denser than the vacuum of space. Right? What pulls it down, or what makes it go, is that gravity is acting on the fucking atmosphere. So if the Earth is rotating and the atmosphere gets pulled with the Earth, then that's gonna produce a Coriolis effect.
No. No, you basically just contradicted. Did you not hear yourself contradict?
Can I ask a question so I can
Well, he's speculating based on his limited knowledge.
I just want to understand what's being said. Can I ask a question?
Okay, do you want me to dumb it down as hard as I can?
I want to ask Josh a question because I want to understand what he's saying. So, you don't think that gravity is causing the Earth to spin, but you do think that you don't think it's causing the atmosphere to spin, but you do think it's causing the Earth to spin, right? So you're saying the rocks are spinning in virtue of gravity, but not the atmosphere?
It is causing the atmosphere to spin. What are you talking about?
You just said it's not in virtue of gravity.
What? No, I didn't say that. I don't know what the fuck
it's not gravity. You said the atmosphere is spinning in the same sense as the Earth is, and it's not because of gravity.
Yeah, I didn't say that it's not because of gravity. I said that gravity pulls the atmosphere down, like towards the center of Earth. Right?
Okay, it's not pulling it with the Earth, with the spin of the Earth. That's the problem.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna try to dumb it down as hard as I can.
That's like saying it doesn't pull the fucking rocks under your feet towards the center of the Earth. Yes, it does.
Josh, can you give him 5 minutes uninterrupted?
I'm just gonna dumb it down as hard as I can. All right, you dip a tennis ball in some water, right? You take it out. You throw the tennis ball. Since the water is not connected to the ball, the water is being dragged by the ball. If gravity allegedly was only pulling things downward, there is no effect that's causing the water of that ball to be dragged at the same speed of the ball is spinning. That's basically what I'm saying. The atmosphere is the water on the ball. That's it. There is no actual force that's causing that to happen. Therefore, you should feel the spin of the Earth.
Look, first of all, I don't know why you think that what you're saying is analogous, right? Like when you throw a ball with water, in it, you're throwing it through an atmosphere, so you have drag on it, right? So, but that's not
the spin is causing the drag.
The ball is above the water, just like the atmosphere is above the Earth.
Why would that be relevant?
That's the common property.
No.
Okay, so
why would that be? Godless, why the fuck are you yelling at me? Don't you fucking yell at me.
All right, so do you want me to restate?
This is getting cringy.
Yeah, geez Louise, guys. Now, it's so funny because I hear you wrecking Josh in this debate, and I'm like, man, this guy, flat Earth, right?
No, we're not. I'm not trying to be mean, guys. I'm not, I really am not trying to cause problems here.
I remember that we have put people in space by the thousands.
We can talk about that real quick.
In space.
So can you explain? Let's talk about that. So can you explain how our atmosphere is next to an infinite vacuum right now?
I don't know what that question means. It's just gobbledygook.
Our atmosphere is next to an infinite vacuum. Gravity allegedly gets weaker the higher up you go.
Okay.
Because at the center is the strongest. So at ground level, gravity is weaker since vacuums are still more powerful than the gravitational pull, and we're next to an infinite vacuum. Why doesn't the atmosphere get sucked out?
Very good question.
Okay, sorry. How does that address?
Good, right?
How does that address my point of us putting thousands of people in space?
Because
and having
in order,
satellites
let me
and
explain.
television
So
up there?
in order to have any pressure, you need a container. This is what modern science says. It makes sense, right? In order to have a pressurized
you
system.
think space is part of the container?
No, I'm
Just
saying I don't believe
sugar.
I do not believe in outer space.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
So what is causing the pressure on the Earth?
I don't know. I don't give a shit. You're saying
You're not listening. That's why you're not listening. It's not that fucking hard.
Concrete. How dare you?
Okay,
You answer my question.
Gases
Why
take the shape of a
think the
container.
people in space? You think the people in space are actors?
Yeah, they've been caught faking it. Like there's an astronaut
how insane that is.
It sounds. Yes, I agree.
Wait,
it
Sugar,
sounds
has your
insane.
government never lied to you?
Hold on.
Sugar, your government has never lied to you. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on. Let me.
It's
Oh my god,
insane to
Concrete is
think.
a fucking flat earther now?
Hold on, Sugar.
Get in the house, Thomas.
This is an astronaut nearly drowning in space. Can you explain how an astronaut can drown in space?
I can Google. I'm right now.
If they're not filming underwater.
I'm right now on Google looking at the NASA live stream out of one of their satellites.
Yes, and have you ever looked?
How do you think cell phones work? You know they work by satellites, right?
No,
Sugar,
it's
these are
not.
like-
GPS is ground positioning system. It's not. There's no metal boxes falling in a circle.
Okay, a lot of it has to do with satellites. Do you know that satellites
a lie.
run our world?
No, it's not. You're lied to, bro.
Okay, you think these corporations spend trillions of dollars on satellites that don't do anything?
Yeah, they actually called Satelloons. Take a look.
It's so stupid.
Have you ever heard of a Satelloon?
So stupid.
Yeah, Sugar, how do you know they spend trillions of dollars on satellites?
They spend trillions of dollars on.
When did you see their books?
They spend trillions of dollars sex trafficking to children.
I'll tell you, Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world.
When did you look at his account?
This is just
the owner.
Sugar, this is just a bunch of fucking. All this stuff is non-sequitur.
I'm doing way better than you. You had your shot. Chill. Jeff
What are you
Bezos,
talking
the
about?
owner of Amazon,
He's right, Josh,
in the world. All right. All they do is launch satellites with his Blue Origin. That's all he does. Is launch fucking satellites in space. This is an obsession. Why would he do that?
You talking about Jeff Bezos?
Yes, he comes from nothing. He doesn't come from the Illuminati. He doesn't come from money.
What do you
He founded
mean? He was
Amazon.
a lawyer.
Every single one of them are part of these secret societies.
It's Jeff Bezos. I have a picture of him in his garage 30 years ago. He's a Joe Schmo. How did
No, he was a lawyer, corporate lawyer, dude. What are you talking about?
How did he become? That's a nobody. It's a nobody.
What?
How did he become you think being a corporate lawyer makes you a somebody?
I guess you're ignoring.
So when you're part of the.
Wait, hold on. I just want to answer this real quick before Sugar fucking. You don't know who his father is. You don't know what circles he ran in. You don't know what boarding schools he went to. You don't know. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he graduated from an Ivy League school.
I know.
You don't understand the fucking connections that are. You don't understand the connections that are established at Ivy League schools. Shut the fuck up.
Looking at the picture of 30-year-old Jeff Bezos in his garage, I can assure you.
And you think that tells you about his social network?
Yes, I can assure you.
Are you out of your fucking? That tells you about his familial lineage.
His social network.
Are you out of your fucking mind, Sugar?
Concrete. His social.
Sugar, are you out of your fucking mind?
You're just
wait. Hold on.
You're just screaming at me and saying nothing.
Concrete is a flat earther.
Sugar, can Josh talk to him again? He wants another chance.
Okay.
Wait,
Only he behaves himself.
But if concrete is a flat earther, that explains a lot.
Yeah, flat Earth is actually really based.
Concrete.
I'd recommend looking into
intelligent person. Go on to Google right now.
Calm down.
Look at a live.
I want to hear about the tennis ball.
Oh, we're going back to the tennis ball argument.
Well, it's not really an argument, right? But look, you tried to make an analogy, and then you failed to show how it was actually analogous. Because the point is that we don't expect. Obviously, a tennis ball has a much lower rate of gravity than the Earth does.
Okay,
right?
that's not what I'm saying.
There's a way to calculate. The gravity. The gravitational pull of the Earth. Equations of which I'm not familiar. I mean, if you want me to learn that shit just so I can shove it down your fucking throat, I will.
No, you don't need to.
But the point is none of that stuff is relevant because, you don't have a model that generates predictive expectations that are confirmed.
I do.
And I can ask you a simple question, right? On your model, the Earth sorry, the moon rotates around the Earth, right? Is that right?
Yeah, it's taking a route. It's taking a circular route. I can show you
above the Earth, right?
Yeah, here I'll post it in the chat.
Okay, right now, all right. This is a very simple observation that again, flat earthers say that anybody can test, anybody can explain. All right, you think the moon is very close by and it rotates around in a circular motion above the Earth. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
you want me to show you the evidence?
Look, this is so simple a child could understand it, okay? Now, when two observers look at the moon from different parts of the Earth, maybe on different sides of the moon, what explains the fact that they see the same face? Because if it were above the moon, and it's just like, it's a trivial fact, if two people are looking at in opposite directions, at the same entity, which they would have to be, like if the moon is dead in the center of the United States and you're in California and you're looking up at the moon and someone else is in New York and they're looking up at the moon, they both see it at the same time, right? They're going to be looking at opposite sides. This is not what you would expect. And so if they're looking at opposite sides, you have to explain why they're looking at the exact same face. But you can't explain why they're looking at the exact same face.
Oh, so you're saying
it does explain the fact that what does explain the fact that we are looking at the same face is that both participants are looking at different angles at the same object that's very far away. Right? That's a very simple example of how of why flat Earth is wrong. That you don't even need to do. You don't even need to do.
You want me to answer it?
Sure.
Okay, so your claim is saying that we should see a different angle of the moon. Is that your claim?
Yeah, different sides of the same object.
Okay, but we all see the same face of the moon every night.
Yep.
And you got to understand. All right, so your claim is that the moon is a sphere, right?
Yes.
That's the main. Okay, so let me talk about that real quick. So the problem with your model is
No, we're not talking about my model. We're talking about your model.
But okay,
no.
Let him fucking finish, yo.
No,
why not?
Because he needs to address the objection.
You don't think Flat Earth has a fucking model that they thought through? You don't think Flat Earth has a fucking model?
Concrete. I know they don't.
I'm going to answer your point.
You're out of your mind.
Okay, so take a look at the video I sent you.
Wait. I'm asking.
I'm trying to answer your question.
So, okay, what you have to explain is why two observers, because what you would expect on the very the scintilla of a type of model that you have, what you would expect is that observers see different faces of the moon, right? That's what you'd expect. Do you disagree or you agree?
Why? Why would that be the case?
Because when you look at an object from two different sides, if the sides are not identical, then here's the problem. You're assuming that the moon is a physical object. I don't believe the moon is a physical object, but I believe it's some sort of light being projected onto the dome. I don't actually believe. Now you're contradicting yourself. Because listen, I got you to commit to this, right? And everybody fucking heard you commit to the fact that it moves around above the Earth. You agree that it was above the Earth, and it moves around above the Earth. You committed to that.
No, okay. He agreed to your stipulations regarding your conceptualization of the moon. He agreed to all your stipulations that you fucking asserted with your conceptualization of the moon. No, you don't fucking understand. You gave us your conceptualization.
Let me just answer it real quick. It's all good. So I believe the moon is not a physical. It's shining onto the dome, so I actually don't believe it's round at all. That's why in my model you never see the backside. On your model, it's like a coincidence. Like you're just saying it's tidally locked, which is that's kind of absurd, to be honest.
You contradicted yourself.
No, I didn't. I actually didn't agree in your terms. So I didn't agree that it was a physical object at all. No, I didn't agree that the moon was.
You agreed that it moves You agreed that it moves in a circular pattern above the Earth.
But I don't believe it's physical. I believe it's some sort of projection onto the dome.
Why would that matter? Why would that make a difference?
Because you're saying that we should see different sides of the moon, but that's not true.
Look, you claimed it moved above the Earth.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
It's the light is shining through the dome, circling above the Earth. Yes.
Okay, so where is the origin of the light?
if we could observe it, that'd be great. But I'm not God, and I can't go outside the dome to observe.
Okay, you don't know, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have. So right now, as of yet, it's just completely ad hoc, right?
Well, I can't leave.
Okay, right. Okay, so your excuse is just completely ad hoc. It doesn't generate any predictions. You can't derive anything from that. You're just trying to account. You're just trying to account for something that shows that the Earth is not flat, right? That's all you're trying to do. You're just
I'm showing
bullshit.
I'm showing what we observe. So let me go on to that point. So, okay, so you're claiming that the moon is round, right? But the big problem is that, just like I said, you never see the backside of the moon. And the biggest problem is when you shine a light on a ball. This is the diagram I posted in the general. You shine on a ball, the very middle of the ball would be a hot spot, right? Because it's getting the most light. But the problem with that is the moon is fully illuminating. It's like a glowing light. That's what it appears in the sky. Another problem with the moon is they claim that these are craters on the moon, but they're actually completely empty and all perfectly circular. If you use physics, if these were craters, you'd agree that not every crater would hit the moon at a 90-degree angle. In order to create a circular impact, the meteor has to hit the moon at 90 degrees, right?
No.
And not only that, they would be remains.
No, I don't agree with that. But
okay,
look, none of this. You're all right. So tell me if you know the standard explanation for the craters on the moon, because it doesn't have to be.
My claim is that these aren't craters. That's literally what I'm claiming. Regardless of what it is, it's not a crater.
No. But you're trying to refute a model. Right, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to refute a model, so you have to understand the predictions made by the model, or otherwise you couldn't refute it.
Okay. In my model, let me explain. In my model, this is a created system. It's a created moon. Therefore, yes, God can create it any which way He wants. And I'm saying that it's impossible for these to be craters, because not only are these all perfectly circular, they're all empty craters. And they're on the side of the moon facing Earth. So where would the meteors have come from?
Great. How is that not ad hoc?
It's not ad hoc. What do you mean?
How is it not just made up to prevent falsification?
Because this is what I'm telling you what you observe. I'm not telling you anything like out of the ordinary.
No. Look, you don't understand any. Look,
it doesn't add up with the model that you're given.
The model that I'm giving about the moon being round doesn't generate the predictions about whether
I'm
or
saying
not
that your model
has.
I'm saying your model has less explanatory power than mine.
Yours doesn't. Yours explains every phenomenon because it's designed to explain every phenomenon, and that's why it's ad hoc.
No, that's the only option that I have, is what I'm saying.
What do you mean that's the only option that you have?
Since I don't, no, let me explain. So I don't appeal to the Big Bang or evolution. I actually believe this is a created system. So yes, I do have to appeal to a creator.
You need to explain. Yeah, what you need to do is explain how any of that generates what you expect. Otherwise, it couldn't be evidence.
Well, let me explain. I don't have to.
Now you have two options here. One option is that it creates it because you say, oh well, this is what the creator wanted. And the creator has the ability to do that, and so this is exactly what we would expect.
Well, we're not arguing the origins.
That's the one option.
Are we arguing the origins or not?
I'm explaining your conceptual options about when it comes
you're
to
telling
flat
me.
Earth.
Okay, so let me explain.
Yeah, I'm explaining. Let me just finish what I was saying. I'll explain why it's relevant. Okay. So on the one hand, what you could do is you could say, well, that generates this prediction, but it doesn't generate anything beyond that, right? It doesn't create novel expectations. And so in order for you to confirm that model, rather than for that model to be simply ad hoc, it would have to generate new predictive expectations. But you don't have any of those. And that's because you don't have a model. That's because you can't say what is actually predicted on your thesis. Now, the other option is that it's unfalsifiable and that everything is just simply consistent with your model.
How is it not falsifiable?
I'm saying that's a dilemma. You're in a dilemma.
Okay. How is mine unfalsifiable when it's literally what you observe in everyday reality? I'd actually argue that yours is unfalsifiable because you're claiming that the Earth has curvature, yet we're too small and we can't observe it. The Earth is spinning, but it's spinning so fast and inertia, and you can't actually observe it. actually argue that you're claiming that it's unfalsifiable. Mine is exactly what you observe in reality.
No, all of those. So if you're talking about specifically about inertial reference frames, those generate predictive expectations. An example
No, it's not, because you don't observe to be spinning.
Let me explain why it generates those predictions. It's the same. So look. What an inertial reference frame is it's just the Newton's second law of motion. Things in motion tend to stay. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. It's just a law of the universe. Right now, there's a falsification criterion for that. That means that is unless acted upon by another force. That's one of the criteria. Now, an example of that is if you could trivially falsify this simply by driving, right? Like just driving in a car and moving with respect to the car, right? Now, if you threw a ball up in the air, what you would not see is the ball all of a sudden rocketing towards the back of the car. You would see the ball lands directly back in your hand. That's because of inertia. That's because of the inertial reference frame. That's because the ball maintains
Is the Earth a closed system?
What do you mean a closed system? No,
is the Earth a closed?
It's not a closed system.
Okay, so it's not the same in your model. So let me explain.
There are particles. There are particles that enter the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, so
and
I'll give you an example.
There's also other things that enter
Josh,
the Earth's
you're really obfuscating his point.
Well, hold on, Josh. Let me explain why yours doesn't follow. So you're saying, all right, if you throw a ball in a car and the ball would just fly back in your hand. Yes, that would be the case in a closed system. But the problem with your model is you're not in a closed system. You're directly next to the vacuum of space. So the equivalent to that is you throw a ball up in a car, but actually all the windows are open and there's no front windshield, and you're going 1,000 miles an hour forward. The ball would fly backward because the atmosphere is not connected to the Earth.
No, the reason there's an atmosphere is because gravity pulls those particles towards the Earth.
No,
you're not addressing a statement.
What are you talking about? I did.
You don't have anything that does that. There's nothing in your model.
No. It's disanalogous. There's nothing that explains gravity. Yeah, gravity is a law, right?
No.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not. But
you moved on to the closed system.
Hold on. I didn't talk. There is no fucking closed open system analogy, right?
But that destroys your analogy.
Sorry, no, it doesn't destroy concrete. Stop fucking interrupting. I'm trying to
interrupting.
Shut
I'm
interjecting. Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna fucking mute you. Get out of my fucking conversation. All right. So what I was saying is, what's disanalogous in your case is you're trying to say. Sorry, you're trying to say that opening the windows is analogous to there being the vacuum of space, right? That's what the whole point of the closed open system is. That's disanalogous.
No,
when you open, because that's disanalogous. Wait, I haven't even objected to what you're saying yet. I just characterized your view. So just tell me whether or not I'm accurately characterizing your view. You're saying that what you're saying is false anyway, right? Because if you open a car window and threw a ball up in the air, it still wouldn't rocket back towards the rear of the car windshield at 30 miles. What?
The front windshield.
Wait, no, it would. Look, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, so you're basically we're going back to the Coriolis. We're going back to the Coriolis.
I just want to. I don't hold it. Wait a sec. I want to understand what you're saying. Right.
Okay, so you want me to explain it?
So wait. So the car is moving. Let's say the car is driving
1,040. 1,040 miles an hour east. Okay, so you're going 1,040 miles an hour east.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to clear up something about.
No, I'm going to re-explain it.
I'm trying to clear up something about inertial reference frames. That's all I want, is to understand the conceptual ground for what you think inertial reference frames are. So let's just talk about a car moving 30 miles an hour due east, right? That's what's happening in this example. Now, what you were trying to say is that there's a closed system inside the car, that the car basically has nothing. There's no drag or anything like that going on within the car, right? That's the example. All of the drag is on the outside of the car, okay? And so what you think is an open system is that when you roll down the windows, then all of a sudden the air inside the car, there's a bunch of air that comes rushing in, and you get drag on the car, for example, right?
Yes, the atmosphere, since it's not following the movement.
Right.
It would be true. Yes.
Okay. So now, what I'm saying is that that doesn't show that there's no inertial reactions for even apart from the fact that it's disanalogous to the vacuum of space, because it's not that what's keeping the atmosphere on the Earth is gravity, right? And that's why, and that's another prediction that's made. If you posit gravity, is that the atmosphere gets thinner as you leave space, which is something that we can empirically observe. Right?
No, that's due to air compression.
Whatever ad hoc bullshit you want to say.
It's not. So let me explain why.
Hold on. Wait. I'm just. Whether or not you think that you have something that's consistent with what I'm saying, it's irrelevant to what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this is something that's expected on my model, right? It's expected on the model. Okay. Now that's a claim, and we'll deal with that. But all right, let's just. I'm still trying to get down to the heart of the issue about the inertial frame of reference, right? Okay, so all of a sudden, you open the car, and then the back of the car is experiencing a bunch of drag, right? But the ball still maintains its inertial reference, right? Because if it didn't, just because we had a closed system, what we expect is that the ball rocketed towards the rear of the car, right? That's what we would expect.
Because it's getting blown back by the drag of the atmosphere.
Wait, so you're saying that if you're driving 30 miles an hour and you throw a ball up in the air...
The front windshield.
Yeah, obviously if you fucking blew off the windshield, there would be another force acting upon the ball.
That's the claim I'm making. I'm saying that the reason why it's disanalogous is because you're claiming that the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth, and this goes back to the Coriolis effect that you keep claiming that doesn't exist, but mainstream scientists agree with that model.
Didn't exist.
Okay, when you say when you claim, let me explain. No,
you just don't understand the Coriolis effect.
No. When you claim that the atmosphere spins with the Earth, then you're disagreeing with the Coriolis effect that mainstream scientists agree with.
No.
Yeah. So
no, look.
Oh boy. I don't understand. Why are you disagreeing with your scientists that tell you that this effect exists?
I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm just explaining that you don't understand the Coriolis effect.
No, I do, and I disagree with it because we don't observe it.
What the Coriolis effect predicts, it doesn't predict anything about the movement of the atmosphere at the equator in relation to the equator. What it predicts is that the atmosphere closer to the pole rotates at a slower rate because of the inertial reference frame, because the atmosphere near the poles also maintains its angular momentum, and the atmosphere at the equator maintains its
so let's address that
momentum.
Point. Is the atmosphere what do you call it, keeping its angular momentum?
Yes.
Okay, then you disagree with Coriolis. The debate's done.
No,
it's over. It's done. You just stated that you disagreed with Coriolis.
Look, the atmosphere. No, you just don't understand the fucking Coriolis effect.
No, I do. You just disagreed with it.
That's why I'm trying. I'm trying to point out why you don't understand it. You can't just say when I offer an objection, "Oh, no, I actually do understand it." You just don't. I'll explain why you don't understand the fucking Coriolis effect. So just shut your fucking mouth and let me explain it, okay? The point of the Coriolis effect is that the atmosphere that's moving with the Earth.
It's not. Coriolis states that doesn't happen. Oh boy.
No, I'm telling you that you don't understand the fucking Coriolis effect.
I do. Coriolis says that doesn't happen. Coriolis says the atmosphere is being dragged.
I'm trying to explain what it actually is. Right?
No, you don't know what it is.
You keep saying the same fucking thing. I'm trying to explain what it is.
You don't know what it is. You just stated like three times that you didn't know what the Coriolis effect was.
I never said I didn't know what it is. I said that you don't know what it is.
I know exactly what it is.
And then every single time I tried to explain it, you just kept saying that was not what the fucking Coriolis effect is.
Hold on. So this is the best video that I have that explains my point. Okay, this is the best one. It is It's around 4 minutes and 48 seconds long, but this is the perfect explanation of what I'm basically saying. Do you want me to, hold on, do you guys want me to stream it?
No, you don't need to stream it. I'm trying to explain what the Coriolis effect is to you, and you won't fucking listen. You just keep asserting it's not the case, and you haven't even heard the explanation. So you don't even fucking know if you're fucking wrong.
Tell me what the Coriolis effect is and what causes it. What's the cause of the Coriolis effect?
That the conservation of angular momentum is the cause of the Coriolis effect.
Okay, how?
The Coriolis effect is what the Coriolis effect shows is that if you have a rotational plane and things rotating along that rotational plane, in order for it, like if you had some object that was stationary on that rotational plane, meaning relative to the disk that it's rotating, you can imagine putting a dot on a plate at the very end of a plate and then rotating the plate with a marker, right? And then towards the center of the plate, putting another dot. What you will observe due to the conservation of angular momentum is that the dot near the center, the pole around which the plane, the plate is rotating, appears to rotate faster because of the fact that it has the same time it takes for at the far end of the plate around the pole. It's the same time it takes is the distance. It covers it covers a greater distance at the end of the plate than it covers towards the beginning of the plate. And so that's, or towards the center of the plate, I mean to say. And given that it appears that it's covering a lower distance, it's going a bigger distance at the edges of the plate, it's going to seem as if it's not moving as fast, right? Because with respect to the center of the plate, it's covering a larger distance. So in the same amount of time, the little dot close to the center of the plate appears to be moving a lot faster, right? Because it's covering a lot less distance in the same amount of time as at the end. So it's like very trivial. It's very trivial to show this. Now, what explains the Coriolis effect, which is that hurricanes, the example of the Coriolis effect is that in the northern hemisphere, storms rotate one way rather than the other way. Is that because if you were to push something through the atmosphere, right, then it's going to maintain
Did he cut out?
Yeah, he liked. All right, anyone that doesn't understand my point, he's saying that the atmosphere doesn't get dragged with the Earth, and modern science says that happens, and he's disagreeing with the modern scientists' claims, and I'm telling him that that's what they're stating, and he's still disagreeing.
No,
yes,
well, yeah, but you haven't cited a source for that. You just claimed that that's what modern science tells you, but you haven't actually cited it.
Here,
and if you did decide to cite a scientist, this is exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
Okay, so do you agree that the atmosphere is being dragged with the Earth?
Yes.
Okay, but you're also saying that the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth.
Yeah, that's the same. I'm saying the same thing.
No.
I'm saying the atmosphere towards the pole.
It's done.
You just don't fucking understand.
You just contradicted yourself right now. You literally you're saying that the atmosphere, the spin of the Earth is dragging the atmosphere, but you're also saying the atmosphere is spinning at the same speed of the Earth.
Just read what you said.
You just contradicted yourself right now.
I'm talking. Look.
It's over. There's no debate.
It says the same fucking thing that I'm talking about in the link that you just read the link in physics.
Is the atmosphere spinning at the same speed with the Earth?
Look,
I'm asking you, is the atmosphere spinning at the same speed with the spin of the Earth?
You can't just look.
I'm asking you.
Your question presupposes something that's false, so I have to explain why it presupposes something that's false. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, you fucking retard. Oh my god. These people are so
Josh,
fucking horrible.
As a parent, you have a very tenuous grasp of this subject. You just probably went over some very cursory
Oh my
information.
god!
And now you're sitting here